Hello everyone, and welcome to our video game recap. Today we are diving in the thrilling world of Far Cry 4, but first I hope you all having a fantastic day. After the death of his mother Ishwari, Ajay Ghale returns to his home country Kyrat to fulfill her last wish, to return her ashes to Lakshmana. Despite official warning not to enter the country due to its civil war, he obtains a passport and travels to Patna, India. From there, he boards a bus traveling to Kyrat. On the bus, he meets Darpan, a man who converses with Ajay, implying that he will help him enter Kyrat. However, upon reaching the border, the bus is stopped by the Royal Army. They conduct a search of the bus, and after finding something seemingly suspicious beneath it, become hostile. Two Golden Path rebels jump out of the bus, and a firefight ensues. The rebels are killed, as is the bus driver. The Royal Army soldiers then fire on the bus, and Darpan and Ajay jump out and are apprehended as a helicopter lands. From the helicopter emerges Pagan Min, the tyrant king of the region. He kills the soldier in command with a pen after saying that he had ordered the bus to be stopped, not shot at. Seeing Ajay, he develops a friendly demeanor, giving Ajay a hug and saying he would recognize those eyes anywhere. He apologizes for the violent welcome, takes a selfie of himself with Ajay, sets the bus on fire, and has a bag placed over Ajay's head, claiming there's a party waiting for him.
It'll be off on a grand...
Ajay and Darpan are taken to the compound of Paul de Pleur Harmon, one of Kyrat's governors, where they are sat at a dinner table. Pagan reminisces about Ishwari and their apparent involvement together, and seems surprised that she never mentioned him to Ajay, going so far as to taste Ishwari's ashes. When your mother decided to flee to the United States with you on her hip, I couldn't help but blame myself. Then I realized it's not me. No, it was the fucking Golden Path. Pagan then stabs a fork into Darpan's back, calling the Golden Path terrorists, and removing a hidden cell phone from Darpan's sleeve, which reveals a text for help. Pagan then instructs Paul to find out what Darpan knows before requesting of Ajay to stay and enjoy the food until he returns. Pagan leaves on his cell phone with Yuma Lau, saying they need to talk. After waiting for a couple of minutes, Pagan Min comes back, allows Ajay to send the risk that her mother needs, and tell the truth about his actual father's crimes. After all that, they both head out to pop some pillies and feels like rock stars. It would have happened, but instead, Ajay decides to leave. He retrieves his mother's ashes and eventually making his way downstairs, where he hears the sounds of electricity and Darpan screaming. He finds Paul torturing Darpan and makes his way through that room toward an apparent exit. That door opens, and he is met by a man named Sabal, who tells Ajay he is a Golden Path fighter and knew Ajay's late father, Mohan Ghale. It's revealed that Mohan was a founder of the Golden Path, and as such, it's an honor for Sable to meet his son and help him escape. Though Ajay is concerned about Darpan, Sabal claims he's more important and that Darpan would understand. Sabal sends Ajay away with a driver amid a storm of bullets, but the car is eventually sent off-road and crashes in a ravine. Ajay awakes to find the driver dead, but is able to contact Sabal via handheld radio transmitter. Sabal instructs Ajay to get to the nearest bell tower. After confronting a couple of Royal Army soldiers, Ajay takes a soldier's kukri, pronounced kukri, a machete-like blade, and makes his way through the wilderness. After meeting up with Sabal and a handful of Golden Path soldiers at the bell tower, they are ambushed by Royal Army soldiers on snowmobiles. After an intense fight, an avalanche comes down the mountainside, crashing into the bell tower. Ajay awakens and digs himself out of a pile of snow and finds Sabal, who laughs and says he's hard to kill. Sabal takes Ajay to the Golden Path-controlled village of Banapur. There, he explains why the Golden Path fights against Pagan Min and says everything started with Ajay's parents. They are approached by Amita, another leader of the Golden Path, who is angry to see that Darpan, their informant, is dead, and Sabal has brought a tourist to their village. When he speaks to Amita later, she apologizes to Ajay, citing the stresses of war, and introduces him to Badra, a teenage girl who is believed by Sabal and other devout Kyratis to be the Tarun Matara, a living incarnation of the goddess who was the wife of Banashir, the primary god of Kirati mythology. Sabal then implores Ajay to help them fight against Pagan Min, starting with freeing Banapur's bell tower and cutting the transmission of Pagan's radio propaganda. Doing so extends the Golden Path's territory within that region. After this mission, Sable instructs Ajay to meet with Longinus, a self-claimed priest and arms dealer to the Golden Path who makes references to Far Cry 2, alluding to his past. He gives Ajay a Scorpion SMG sidearm before Sable radios for help. The Royal Army is attacking Banapur. After confronting many enemies, Ajay rescues Badra from a burning building and Banapur is given a chance to recover. Ajay is then tasked by Sable and Amita to perform two separate missions: rescue some hostages and liberating an outpost in Paul's domain. After completing both, Amita persuades Ajay to stay and fulfill his parents' dream of a united Kyrat free of tyranny. When Ajay returns to the first outpost he liberated, he finds Amita and Sabal having an argument. A female Golden Path member advises Ajay that Amita and Sabal's differences in strategy always collide. She remarks on how, since Ajay is the son of Mohan Ghale, he is one of the most important members of the Golden Path, and his decisions will carry great weight. At the conclusion of their argument, Amita and Sabal separate, and Ajay has a choice to make. Sabal wants to rescue 9 members of the Golden Path being held hostage, but in exchange will lose very important intel in the process. While Amita wants the map providing the intel the Golden Path needs, but the hostages will be lost. Since Ajay is in the path of vengeance for his father's death, he tends to help Amita on her mission to retrieve the intel. After this mission, Ajay meets Badra at a nearby site designated for funerals. Ajay asks if his father's funeral was anything like the mass rites being performed. Badra responds that she was too young, but that his death broke the Golden Path. She states that Mohan didn't die fighting, he was murdered. Shocked, Ajay questions her further, and Badra points him in the direction of his childhood home. There, Ajay finds 2 British druggies, Yogi and Reggie, taking up residence. After a quick conversation, Ajay is suddenly drugged and handed over to Noor in Shanath Arena. Noor throws Ajay into the fighting pits, naked, but advises him to survive, telling him where to find a hidden knife. Once Ajay wins the fight, he meets up with Noor, who tells him that Reggie and Yogi are being played, just like her. She is forced to run Shanath Arena for Pagan because Paul Dupleur has her family, and she begs Ajay to help her take down Paul and find her family. Ajay then returns to the Gale homestead and angrily confronts Reggie and Yogi, who agree to leave, but not before a quick smoke. On the wall, Ajay sees an empty frame, and the Brits say it contained a special thanka, which is reputed to have told the legendary story of the Kirati warrior Kalanag, who was sent by his king to find the mystical land of Shangri-La. However, the thanka was said to have been split into 5 pieces and scattered across Kyrat. After learning that, Ajay decided to learn more. At a monastery in Kyrat, Ajay meets with Sabal and learns about the importance of Kyrat's religion and how his devout father let it guide him. Intel reveals an attack planned on the monastery, and Ajay helps defend it. Afterwards, Ajay is sent to recover weapons from Longinus and returns to the monastery, where Ajay faces another choice. The Golden Path is informed that Dupleur has arranged for Royal Army soldiers to manage an opium plantation. Sabal wants the plantation destroyed, calling the opium a poison that needs to be wiped out. Amita, on the other hand, wants the soldiers killed, but the plantation kept intact, claiming that the opium can be sold to bring some much-needed revenue to Kyrat's reconstruction. Understanding the economical benefit, Ajay decides to keep the opium for himself. After a mission where Ajay is sent to protect 2 religious statues known as the Sleeping Saints, Noor contacts Ajay and asks him to come see her at Shanath Arena. There, Ajay finds Noor inconsolable. She tells Ajay that Paul Dupleur is having a farewell party at his stronghold, the City of Pain, and won't be back in Kyrat for a while. She gives Ajay the location of a village where Paul is collecting torture subjects, and Ajay stows away on a truck, contacting either Amita and letting them know he's going after Paul. Ajay is told to bring Paul back alive. Within the City of Pain, Ajay moves stealthily in order to avoid raising the alarm, eventually making his way to the main building where Paul has a hostage tied up. Ajay takes his place, freeing the hostage, and places a bag over his head, pretending to be tied up. Paul enters the room on the phone with his wife, Laura Harmon, and daughter Ashley, speaking as a normal, well-meaning father promising to bring his little girl a gift from his travels. Incidentally, these gifts are stolen from Kyrat villagers and murdered Golden Path members. After the call, Paul takes off the bag and recognizes AJ, who headbutts him, knocking him out. He takes Paul and puts him into the trunk of a car and drives off. When Paul comes to, AJ tells him Noor sends her regards, to which Paul responds,
What? I mean, she thinks her family's still alive? oh, man, we killed them years ago.
At this point, the player may either stop and destroy the car or continue to the Golden Path rendezvous point. Once there, he is handed over to Sabal and Amita. They thank AJ before taking Paul into a house to be interrogated. Paul's phone rings and he begs Ajay to let him speak to his daughter, who is presumably calling. But Ajay rightfully denies his wishes, and that is the last time we will see him again. Returning to the plantation, Ajay finds a solemn Amita who tells him that Sabal's next target is the Rochan brick factory, where the Royal Army has scientists working on drug concoctions. Ajay can choose Sabal's side, where he can destroy the plantation completely, or choose Amita's path, where only the chemist leader is put down, and the plantation is later to be used by the Golden Path. Ajay yet again chooses Amita over Sabal, as the plantation could be a good source of revenue for the resistance. Following this, Ajay receives orders from Amita and Sabal that it's time to take out Noor. However, Ajay says that he will decide her fate since Noor had provided him information to capture Paul. At Shanath Arena, Ajay finds a secret entrance leading backstage and eliminates Noor's guards. He sneaks up on Noor, giving an announcement to the crowd, and points a 1911 at her back. Ajay taps her shoulder and reveals that Noor's family is gone.
AJ, where's my family?
I'm sorry, Noor.
No!
I'm so sorry. Sorry. Pagan had them killed.
After this event, the arena then falls under Golden Path control. Ajay finds himself contacted by Willis Huntley, who requests his assistance at the airport in exchange for valuable information. Ajay's task is to eliminate snipers in the area to ensure a safe landing for Willis's Cessna, facilitating a meeting between Willis and a Royal Army commander. Despite initial complications, AJ aids in defending Willis before they discuss the promised intel. Willis identifies himself as a CIA operative and claims that the information Ajay seeks is in possession of a departing pilot. Without hesitation, Ajay commandeers an ATV and races off a ramp, deploying his wingsuit to intercept the plane mid-air. With daring agility, he retrieves the information from the pilot and escapes just in time, destroying the plane with a well-aimed grenade. However, the retrieved file proves disappointing, as most of the information is redacted. Willis contacts AJ again, revealing a new proposition, aiding in the elimination of key Royal Army commanders and assisting in the takedown of Yuma Lao in exchange for further revelations. Throughout these missions, Willis gradually discloses his intimate knowledge of AJ's family history. He discloses that he knew AJ's father, Mohan, during the First Civil War, where Mohan worked for Pagan Min to combat the nationalists. Willis further reveals that AJ's mother, Ishwari, was sent to spy on Pagan and when Mohan threatened her life due to her desire to leave everything behind, she killed Mohan instead. In a final twist, it's revealed that the targets Ajay has been eliminating were CIA assets, eliminated to erase the CIA's involvement in Kyrat. Willis betrays Ajay, pushing him out of the plane into the unforgiving terrain of the Himalayas, where he is swiftly captured by a Royal Army soldier. Ajay wakes up to find himself under the watchful eyes of Yuma, Pagan Min, and the soldier who captured him. Pagan expresses his desire to keep AJ alive, but to impart a lesson. AJ realizes he's imprisoned in Durgesh, a grim facility nestled in the unforgiving mountains under Yuma's control. As Pagan and Yuma depart, the guard drugs AJ, who later awakens to find his cell door ajar. Navigating the treacherous caves of the prison, but Ajay encounters deranged inmates and makeshift tools, including components for a grappling hook. However, he must evade the patrolling Rakshasa, supernatural beings from Shangri-La, who guard the prison. Despite the perilous obstacles, Ajay manages to descend the mountainside to a snow-covered village, where oppressed locals toil under Royal Army rule. Determined, Ajay either evades or confronts the soldiers, retrieves his weapons, and escapes, succumbing to near-freezing temperatures before collapsing. Miraculously, Ajay regains consciousness in the warmth of his bed at the Gala homestead, saved from the brink of death. After liberating the southern outposts of Kyrat, he rendezvouses with Amita at Shanath Arena, where she urges him to seize control of King's Bridge, a strategic entry point into northern Kyrat. With King's Bridge secured, Ajay ventures into the north and is directed to meet Golden Path allies in the village of Utkarsh. Beneath a humble home, underground operatives express gratitude to Ajay for uniting the south with the north. Their camaraderie is shattered when Pagan Min unexpectedly appears, ostensibly extending kindness to the villagers while orchestrating their brutal demise at the hands of his soldiers. Driven by fury, Ajay pursues Pagan, ultimately destroying his vehicle with a buzzer. However, his triumph is short-lived as the real Pagan Min contacts him, berating Ajay for ruining a perfectly good body double and bemoaning the loss of hair on the imposter. Pagan's nonchalant demeanor leaves AJ stunned, realizing the extent of Pagan's deceit and manipulation. Sabal and Amita summon Ajay to their tent, where a tense gathering of Golden Path soldiers awaits. As they watch Pagan Min's broadcast, AJ witnesses the revelation of Yuma's location at the Ki-O Svargia mine. Determined to confront Yuma, AJ heads to the mine and engages her soldiers in a fierce battle. However, upon entering the depths of the mine, Yuma drugs him, plunging him into a hallucinogenic journey. In his hallucination, AJ navigates a surreal forest landscape, encountering visions of Amita issuing ruthless commands to collect children from villagers under threat of violence. As Ajay progresses, he confronts Yuma, who morphs into the fearsome Kalanag. Forced to confront his visions, Ajay battles manifestations of Kalanag and his white tiger, struggling to distinguish reality from illusion. Ultimately, he triumphs over Yuma, only to find himself in a state of frenzied violence upon awakening, repeatedly stabbing her in a gruesome manner. Following Yuma's demise, Ajay seeks solace with Badra, who laments the ongoing power struggle between Amita and Sabal, with her caught in the middle as the Tarun Matara. Badra emphasizes the significance of Ajay's decision-making, as his heritage as Mohan Gale's son holds sway over the people's allegiance. With Badra's guidance, Ajay chooses to align with Amita's plan to destroy the Jalendu temple, viewing the Tarun Matara ceremony as archaic and exploitative. This decision symbolizes a break from tradition, as Kyrat's historical treasures and gold within the temple are to be melted down for the country's restoration efforts. Following the temple's destruction, Ajay aids Amita in defending Utkarsh against mortar bombardment. However, tensions escalate as Amita tasks Ajay with eliminating Sabal, further entrenching the division within the Golden Path. Sabal, anticipating the plot, lays down his arms and allows Ajay to do what he sees fits. But Ajay show compassion and leave him be, although Sabal see it as a dishonorable act. Finally, Ajay meets the Golden Path for the last attack on Pagan's fortress. They help close the gap for Ajay to go to the royal palace. Ajay drives up the mountain and finds Pagan preparing a dinner for them. Pagan sits and gives Ajay two choices, to shoot him or spare him and listen for what he has to say. He will speak with Ajay and reveal that no matter who is in control of the Golden Path, Kyrat belongs to him. It always has. He takes Ajay outside to a small shrine where he reveals another startling bit of information. When Ishwari's was sent to spy on Pagan, she had a child, a daughter, with him named Lakshmana. Feeling betrayed, Mohan killed Lakshmana, and then Ishwari killed Mohan in return before fleeing Kyrat. After her death, Pagan entered the shrine only once, a sane man, and came out like this. Ajay leaves his mother's ashes within the shrine and exits to see Pagan in his helicopter, saying that Kyrat is Ajay's, but he's taking the chopper. Pagan then flies off, and AJ tells the Golden Path leader that Pagan is gone and he found Lakshmana. After all the ordeal, AJ finds out that Amita is forcibly taking children from their parents to build up an army and manage opium fields. She claims to be sacrificing liberties now for peace later. When AJ asks what Bhadra thinks of all this, Amita says she sent her away. She doesn't need a Tarun Matara for her enemies to rally behind. When AJ asks where, Amita says that it doesn't matter as she cannot come back. This implies that Bhadra has either been sent into exile or has been killed. This event confirms the dream that Ajay has. Kyrat went from one tyrant to another. The dramatic conclusion of Far Cry 4, as the dust settles over the tumultuous region of Kyrat, the player is left to ponder the heavy cost of power and the murky ethics of rebellion and tyranny. Ajay Ghale's journey through this land of breathtaking beauty and devastating conflict serves as a profound canvas for a lesson that resonates deeply. The path to freedom and justice is often fraught with moral ambiguity, and the choices we make can lead to unforeseeable consequences. Ultimately, Far Cry 4 teaches us that in the quest for change, one must tread carefully, for the line between liberator and oppressor is perilously thin, reminding us of the enduring truth that in the fight against darkness, we must guard against becoming shadows ourselves.